Hey, what's up, everybody? Of course, welcome to another episode of Victorious Ones Podcast. This is a very impromptu episode, of course. I'm your host, King Von Jr., as you all know. Follow me on social media on Twitter at 301 King Von Jr., on Instagram at Mr. King Von Jr. You know the rest of me, social media producer for the Unpopular Views, Perfect Plex Talk Radio. But of course, I know that this is an impromptu time. I don't want to hold your thing right the rest of your time tonight, especially this go home SummerSlam episode that's literally happening right now. Sorry for kind of but I am a man of my word. I did say that I was going to give a review of Deadpool Wolverine. As a matter of fact, I just came from Target and I finally got got myself one of those Deadpool Wolverine hoodies. Like finally, those things flying off the shelves. Matter of fact, let me see it. It's right here. Bingo. As you can see. LFG, let's freaking go, baby. Let's freaking go. All right. So anyway, like I said, like I said, it's gonna be very, very impromptu. But of course, I'm gonna talk about obviously San Diego Comic-Con, RDJ coming back as Dr. Doom. Lived long enough to see himself become a villain. You know what I mean? So like I said, as far as that, thank you very much for those that are watching by way of Twitter/X. San Diego Comic-Con news was huge. You know what I mean? Like, also, comes more bloodline coming up right now. Tonga, is that Tonga? I believe it. Yeah, the whole crew, Jacob Fatu as well. Like I said, I'm watching live. But yeah, like I said, as far as like I said, as far as our Deadpool Wolverine is Tonga Lord right there. The Botch King as well. You know what I mean? But like I said, as far as Deadpool Wolverine, as a matter of fact, I saw it on Saturday night. You know what I mean? And of course, the movie theater that was at, it was filled. Shout out to AMC over in Georgetown. But yeah, like I said, it was absolutely packed. Like I said, especially with this, and the thing is, like as far as like the movies that usually went to, like usually on Saturdays, it's not quite as packed. Like it depends on where I go, but but when I went to, it was pretty much filled to capacity because that movie brought in numbers. And so of course, like I said, as far as like Deadpool Wolverine, the thing about it is it absolutely wasted no time when it came to the humor as well as the violence, especially with the way that Deadpool used Wolverine's skeleton, and with that laced with adamantium, and just killing all those TVA agents the way he did, and like I said, as far as that, and it just being fused with the TVA, its whole multiverse thing, because that's the era that we're in right now. But I guess but just slow down. But yeah, like I said, as far as that, Cody accept the Soul Challenge. Anyway, but yeah, but like I said, as far as Wolverine, Deadpool, pretty much being recruited by the TVA, being assigned, being assigned by the TVA, at least to go back in time, go through different timelines and search for Wolverine. And I like the different Easter eggs that they had when it came to Wolverine, like just going through different timelines, seeing the different variations of Wolverine. I thought it was hilarious when they had 5'3" comic accurate Wolverine, because in the comics we all know Wolverine is very tiny, only 5'3", very small dude. Of course, like I said, of course with that they had the Wolverine dressed like James Bond with the white suit and with the white blazer, the eye patch. For those that are familiar with that, the issue with him and Grey Hulk, or was it Joe Fixit, whatever. Like that version of Wolverine. Of course they had the Age of Apocalypse Wolverine with all the hair sticking out and the missing hand. Of course they had the Henry Cavill Wolverine, whatever that was worth. Of course they also had the Wolverine with the brown and yellow suit. That's fighting Incredible Hulk. The issue of Hulk was number 340, I believe it was. Of course that was one on the cover there. They had showed Wolverine's claws with Hulk's reflection, and it's like these different references and things like that. And they finally got the official Wolverine with the yellows, obviously with the classic yellow and blue You know, man, of course, the very first time Hugh Jackman ever wore the costume. So of course, when everybody found that out right away, that that movie you already knew was going to do numbers. And so, of course, this was a more disheveled Wolverine, like it's a version of him that apparently let the X-Men down, let his timeline down. And so of course, of course, Deadpool's in need of redemption to to give himself like a greater purpose, and and just Wolverine just restoring his legacy and his name, and just just being a bigger hero than he was before, that type of thing. It was like his overall pretty much redemption in and of itself. And so and the thing is, I like how in this movie that pretty much like Deadpool's always making fun of himself, always breaking the fourth wall, and like how I like how when Wolverine arrives in TVA, Deadpool looks back and says, "Welcome to the MCU. I know you showed up, arrived at a low point, like things like that, these little jabs and stuff." And and also how Wolverine and Deadpool showed up in this place called the Void, which is the graveyard for 20th Century Fox, especially since Marvel and Disney own the rights to to these properties like X-Men, Fantastic Four, and Blade and everything else. And so that was a send off of 20th Century Fox. And so oh, man. Yeah, Mello. Anyway, yeah, like I said, of course, I say doing this for you as well as keep up with this go home episode of SummerSlam. And so of course Mello, his birthday was yesterday. Happy belated birthday to Carmelo Hayes. But yeah, like I said, like I said, as far as that, like I said, like with Wolverine and Deadpool being in the Void, and how they have all these different callbacks to these different pretty much like the Fox Marvel era, if you will. And so of course they show this guy and the scene looks like the Void looks like something out of Mad Max, right? And so there's this guy that's standing at the top, and he's wearing this poncho, hoodie, or whatever it is, just torn from the hood. And so of course I'm wondering who it is. And so of course he comes down, takes off the hood, and we find out it's Chris Evans. So we're thinking like including Deadpool, thinking that he's going to say Avengers Assemble, but then he just trolls everybody and says Flame On. I was like, oh, this Human Torch. So of course this is like I said, I was finally able to catch on to what that was. And so of course we see Sabretooth, the original Sabretooth from the first X-Men movie, Tyler Bane. See him. We see Pyro. We see Toad, all from the first, from the first X-Men movie. And the fight with Wolverine and Sabretooth ended just like that. I thought it was going to be a much bigger fight, but clearly, obviously it was a different story. And those Easter egg with the Sabretooth's head being cut off, that was, matter of fact, that was a reference to another Wolverine comic or something where he's holding Sabretooth's head. I was like, okay, there's another Easter egg here, here and there. And so, like I said, just the way this send off is, and just being trapped in this void, and and of course, end up getting captured, by Cassandra Cain's henchman, and of course, like Cassandra Cain, comes out that you see this this giant man, like when Ant-Man turns to a giant, you see his corpse. And so, of course, as soon as he opens up his mouth, Deadpool says, that Paul Rudd finally aged, inside Joe. Paul Rudd is 55, but for a long time, he's always like 25 or 30, or 35, or something like that, type of thing like that. He just never ages, that kind of thing. And so, of course, like I said, of course, along with that, while and another thing is, of course, like while there, like I said, as a matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and backtrack as well. Also, in the movie, we see a cameo by Happy Hogan, and of course, this scene, this was back when Deadpool was, of course, made that appearance in the 616 universe. Of course, I meant to say spoiler alert, by the way, for those that haven't been watching this review. You know what I mean? Like I say, see, quick spoiler alert, for those that haven't seen it. I'd say it's a break. We've had all week, so at this point, I think the spoiler ban has been lifted at this point. You know what I mean? So as far as that, so but yeah, like I said, for those that haven't seen it yet, sorry about that. The spoiler ban is officially been lifted this entire week, so no excuses. But yeah, anyway, like I said, of course we see a cameo by John Favreau's Happy Hogan with Deadpool's in the like 616 universe back in 2018, and so so Deadpool's one of his job interview to be a part of the Avengers, and it was just, like I said, just constant flips and jabs and things like that, and so Deadpool's he's wondering if Happy if Happy's like the new boss in charge, and so of course Happy saying that of course, like Deadpool's thing, I guess, apparently, like you saying, I'm like, apparently, the big boss, like the man up there, isn't doing any more cameos, and then Happy was like, no, he's not doing any more interviews, and so that was a jab at Robert Downey Jr. not showing, apparently, not making more cameos, appearances as Iron Man, things like that. And so of course, so the whole thing, which is just about Wade Wilson, Deadpool, trying to find his identity, and just seeing where he fits within the greater picture, if you will, and as far as that, and also to the point where he gets a job like a car salesman at one point and things like that, and just this ridiculous looking wig, and of course at that point, that's when, of course, that's at the point where he was captured by the TVA, and of course we don't proceed with the story and whatnot, where where Deadpool and Wolverine are Deadpool and Wolverine are in the void, and as far as that, and of course you slow down, but also that was backtracking. So of course fast forward, as a matter of fact, while they're in the void, we see everybody just watching can hear me, but of course at this point, this is where we see all these different cameos, cameos that I did not expect. Shout out to Wesley Snipes returning as Blade, as he's in the void. Was Jennifer Garner coming back as Elektra, Channing Tatum for the very first time appearing as Gambit, and then we also have the girl that was in Logan who played X-23. So they're all teaming up in this void, coming up with their own super team and things like that. And so and of course, Gambit makes a joke saying that he was that he was pretty much born in the void, meaning that that his film never even got off the ground, whereas everybody else, that the void is, like I said, the graveyard for for the Blade franchise, for the Elektra movie, and it was like take shots at Ben Affleck's Daredevil and stuff like that. And of course, it was a little fun fact. What Ryan Reynolds personally asked Wesley Snipes to be a part of the movie and reprise his role as Blade, right? And so as far as that, and of course, it's and another thing about it is I like how I like how they constantly make fun of Channing Tatum's terrible Cajun accent as Gambit, and of course, Deadpool even asked, he was like, "Who's your dialect coach?" It's just like it's bad when you look sillier than Deadpool, right? And so as far as that, and and just the chemistry between Deadpool and Wolverine all throughout the movie. It was a perfect, I felt as though it was a perfect balance. And because, as a matter of fact, it's just like, I've never seen anybody make Deadpool shut up the way that Wolverine did when they were in that Honda Odyssey. And, you know what, and by the way, there was different Deadpool variant. So it was a nice pull. He was pretty much just Ryan Reynolds without the Deadpool makeup and with a wig on, without using any profanity. You know what I mean? Like, this is a nice pull, and he was the complete opposite of anything that Deadpool was about. His method even had like these really cool, like he had like two golden guns, like some out of 007 N64 game. That's what those guns remind me of, right? And so, like I said, as far that they had with the dog pool, which is weird looking prosthetic tongue. I'm pretty sure this is what it had to be. But I think just all these different variations of Deadpool, especially arriving even later. But yeah, like I said, as far as like Deadpool and Wolverine's chemistry, like I certainly enjoy the chemistry, and like and the thing about it is because Deadpool's a Mercury now, he talks like 1,000 miles per minute. The way that Wolverine was able to tell him about himself while they were in that while they were in that on the Odyssey, and the way he was able to tell him about himself to the point where Deadpool, Wade couldn't say a word, and then he was like, you know what, I'm ready to fight you. And then of course that's when they had to fight. That's when that fight in Honda. Yeah, it was like, they were choosing violence. Like this was an epic fight, an intense fight. And ultimately it stopped because they were both worn out. That's typical fashion, right? Like I said, it's just like the way that they were able to bounce off each other just spoke volumes. And of course, meanwhile, Cassandra Cain is on a mission to just tear the timeline to smithereens, to just tear it to shreds completely. So their mission is to make sure that the timeline gets restored, right? And so and just with just Cassandra's powers are just like beyond Omega level. Of course, they even make a reference to her killing Magneto, Xavier's sister. Kills his longtime rival. If that's not a story in itself, I don't know what else is, right? Of course that, and we also see, I'm skipping over a whole bunch of parts, but that, and also see, of course, like the ultimate fight where Wolverine and Deadpool are teaming up to fight off all these other Deadpool variants, different versions of them, like not just fight them off, but really just to kill them. You know what I mean? As far as that, and of course I also like the references to Stan Lee, especially on the side of the bus. I was like, all right, cool. Of course there was even a reference to Rob Liefeld, Rob Liefeld, I believe is when I pronounce his name. That's the guy that created Deadpool. You know what I mean? And so and the thing about it is that I figured that they were going to have great chemistry because of anything. Wolverine is the blueprint for Deadpool, pretty much, right? As far as a Canadian, as far as a Canadian with the healing factor, things like that. So if it wasn't for Wolverine, there'd be no Deadpool. I mean, other than besides Wolverine, say Deathstroke as well, but especially when it comes to Wolverine, you know what I mean? Like I said, it's just like I say, just the chemistry was everything in this movie, and like I said, it's good. I mean, there's so much comedy, it's crazy. You know what I mean? Like I say, it's just like the writing. I can't even go into all of it. But it's just that just the writing and the references, like seeing these cross references and things like that, were just next level. And it's the running joke is also, how Deadpool saw himself in one of the TVA timelines, where he saw himself crying in Thor's arms, and he wondered why Thor's crying. There was even a scene where Deadpool wakes up, and wakes up from the night from a bad dream, a nightmare with Thor's crying. It's like he's like, he's looking around. He's like, he looks like he's looking around. It's like, he's like, where's Thor? Where's Thor? Why is he crying? It's like, you know what I mean? So as far as that, you know, I like that. And also like, it's also just with the way that, like say, just the way that that Wolverine and Deadpool, you know, got together side by side to use their healing factor to restore the timeline. How the timeline was able to regenerate because of their regenerative powers. That's poetic justice right there, right? And also with the way that Wolverine's costume, at least top of course, just ripped, while him and Deadpool were sacrificing themselves, the sacrificial heroes or whatever. And I was like, all right, really cool. Like they made their own hero sacrifices as Wolverine did in that original Logan timeline. And so this variation of Wolverine, makes a hero sacrifice, except he doesn't die. Both him and Deadpool, make so both him and Deadpool make hero sacrifices. And then like of course that, along with that big fight in the void, with Blade, Gambit, and Elektra, and how of course just the way that they were finally able to shut down Cassandra Nova, just simply by using Juggernaut's helmet after he was killed. And so I was like, oh wow, man, it just how you just trolling before eventually using Doctor Strange's ring to open up the portal. And so of course, thankfully they were able to make it in time. They're able to get out of the void just in time, even though even the other heroes that were stuck in the void end up getting destroyed themselves as they were making their own sacrifice. And shout out to Gambit. It just the way that his powers were on full display, with the way that his staff lit up, his cards lit up, and the movie was saying, I just like to make things go boom. And that's really what Gambit does. Boom goes the dynamite. Gambit can turn anything with his kinetic powers. He can turn anything into a bomb. He could turn this phone into a bomb. He could turn this remote into a bomb. He could turn, a game controller into a weapon. Turn this fun puppet, anything, into a weapon. Not just cards. Even though his primary weapon, the primary element of choice of violence, happens to be playing cards. But and it just like I say, it just looks like a fight sequence itself. Like, okay, this is it's going to change him some time to shine, and he can live. And of course, the same thing with Wesley's Blade, and how he was saying how he's make this like this side comment saying that he was going to be that he was the only Blade. But Deadpool was like, sure about that, and but yeah, as far as that, and just scenes like that, and of course, like I say, just the way that Deadpool and Wolverine would come together, and would sacrifice himself to save the timeline without actually dying, and and I was like, as far as that, and like I say, just overall, I've been more than impressed with this movie. Out of what's now the Deadpool trilogy, I'll put this in number one. But this is number one. I put part one, number two, and part two, and number three. If I were to do a ranking, but for sure, this Deadpool Wolverine movie is definitely number one in my estimation when it comes to Deadpool's trilogy. As far as movies within that catalog, this hands down is number one. I definitely have to see it again. So that is my review of that's been my review so far. So when it comes to Deadpool Wolverine, I highly recommend it. And the funny thing is, as soon as I got out of the theater, as soon as I turned my phone on, I go on Instagram, on Twitter, and it explodes. It blows up because the ultimate bombshell is that Robert Downey Jr. return is going to return to the MCU this time as Dr. Doom. Hence, if you were watching, that's why named Victor Vaughn. Didn't see that? Play on words, if you will. And the funny thing is, I'm wearing an Iron Man shirt right now. But yeah, you know what I mean. Like I said, that was whoa, excuse me. And just and the thing is, Marvel knows what they're doing. To drop that news like that on the weekend of of their biggest blockbuster in years, the same weekend as Deadpool Wolverine, San Diego Comic-Con takes place, and that they definitely did numbers, especially with that reveal of Hall H. Hall H is the place to be at San Diego Comic-Con. Hall H is where they make the biggest announcements. You know what I mean? Of course, Robert Downey Jr. makes his return to the MCU as Dr. Doom for Avengers Doomsday, as well as for the upcoming Secret Wars as well. Especially because, of course, also with the announcement of Fantastic Four. We've also seen the trailer for Captain America: Brave New World with Harrison Ford as Thunderbolt Ross. And for those of us, as a matter of fact, when I was in the theater, I saw the trailer for it, right? And of course, for those of us that have seen the poster, you see a red hand holding the shield. So that red hand is only mean one thing. You got Red Hulk. So of course, Harrison Ford is going to be Thunderbolt Ross / Red Hulk, and he was even doing when he was on stage, he was doing his impression, acting like he was hulking out. So he's already you already know what's going to happen anyway. So I definitely like the CGI for Red Hulk. Very much impressed. I'm looking forward to that. You know what I mean? So if anything, other news at San Diego Comic-Con, but this has got to be the biggest, San Diego Comic-Con that we've had in a very long time. And I know lately that there has been, but yeah, like I said, as far as that, the news that came up, I mean, that just sent shockwaves. But also at the same time, there's been a lot of backlash in regards to this reveal. And what I mean by that is that there are a number of people that are happy with myself, but there are also those that are unhappy because of what happened with Jonathan Majors. With the way that he was shelved and replaced for someone who's far more established, who's already made his name in Marvel, right? And so so that feels like Jonathan Majors should get a second chance. Hey, I'm not mad at that either. But at the same time, with the way I believe that Marvel did make this decision as a way to boost ticket sales, to boost morale, if you will, because they have been slumped after Endgame. This Phase 4 has been one to forget. So this is their way of breaking the emergency glass. This is exactly what it is. They had to press the panic button, and who better to answer that call than RDJ himself, Robert Downey Jr. And it's going to be very interesting. Apparently, there's word going around that saying that he's going to be Victor Von Doom, right? So it's very interesting to see how that plays out, especially with the mask. So I'm thinking that he's going to be masked up throughout the movie and just use RDJ's voice, if you will. But in the comics, with Infamous Iron Man, Victor Von Doom, Dr. Doom actually becomes Iron Man himself. He creates his own Iron Man armor while still wearing the Dr. Doom hoodie/cape, if you will. And the thing about it is that, of course, Dr. Doom and Iron Man have been rivals themselves, right? It's a situation where you either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become a villain. Apparently for Robert, it's both. Once a hero, now a villain. And but yeah, of course, like I said, there's been a lot of backlash recently. Recently involving this decision. Of course, Jonathan Majors is a great actor, but the thing about it is, some of the things that really did him in, not only the controversy that he was involved in while being on Marvel's watch, while being on Marvel's dime, while having his name tied to the brand, things like that. Not only did that hold it back, but also the fact that Kang, was defeated by ants in Quantumania, and in the post-credit scene had a million different Kangs. And I was like, it just looked way too silly and looked way too comical. Apparently, I read somewhere, I guess, the execs over at Marvel must have made a call about this. I've already seen the reviews for Quantumania and just how that was received. Like, you know what? Enough's enough at this point, because looking back and seeing that, I'm like, there's no way that Marvel really is going to pin their hopes in their future on that. No offense to Jonathan Majors, but as strong as Kang is, Dr. Doom is like leagues ahead of him as far as villain status when it comes to just his legacy, just when it comes to his impact and what he means to the fabric of Marvel. Because they're gearing towards Secret Wars, even though they're talking about Kang Dynasty movie or something like that. But the way that they were originally promoting Kang, as if he was going to be like the future villain, and the Kang Dynasty thing was going to be like the next big event after Infinity War. Really, I know it's not going to sound like a very popular opinion about this, though. Dr. Doom should have gotten that initial promotion from the beginning, right after Endgame. Because the two biggest, like comic war stories, if you will, in Marvel are Infinity War, or Infinity Gauntlet, the original comics, and Secret Wars. Thanos, the key figure of Infinity Gauntlet, Infinity War storyline. That's the key villain. Dr. Doom is the key villain for Secret Wars. He's the central figure. Dr. Doom is to Secret Wars what Thanos was to Infinity. So Kang being right there in the middle was I think they were like, kind of like, as far as like the Kang story and Doctor Doom thing, I think it was kind of like bleeding a little too close together, if you will. Like just, it's just like you have type of breathing room between Thanos and Doctor Doom. You know, so I'm not estimation. I believe that Doctor Doom is going to be the ultimate game changer in this post-Endgame era, in this post-Endgame variant timeline era thing that we're living in right now. You know, no offense against Kane, no offense against Jonathan Majors, but Doctor Doom was just league of his own. Just when it comes to he has a richer storyline, legacy, and lineage as a character, is Doctor Doom. I feel as though Kang would have been, some type of replacement if you didn't have Doctor Doom available. But now that he is available, I feel as though post Endgame, this, would have to be the main plan, the original plan. So like I said, no offense to Kang as a character and all this other type of stuff, but really, the ultimate game changer is going to be the unleashing of Doctor Doom. And it just so happened that they have a very familiar face, a legend, icon when it comes to Marvel, Robert Downey Jr. Coming back after the Oscar win. So people speculating whether it's fan service or he misses that Marvel money, whatever the case may be, things like that. But the thing about it is that you need someone that's proven, someone that's because the name of the game, the whole purpose is about putting butts in seats. Now, initially, it would have been great to see Mads Mikkelsen play Dr. Doom. Cillian Murphy from Oppenheimer as Dr. Doom. I think he would have been great. But they went instead with Robert Downey Jr. And also, RDJ is known for having great range. Because I remember watching Oppenheimer, and I remember just watching this portrayal, and I was sitting in theater, thinking to myself, I'm like, this is what would happen if Tony were a villain in another timeline. That's just what I was thinking when I was watching Oppenheimer. This what happens. You get an evil version of Tony, pretty much like a Victor Von Doom type of figure. So that was initially thinking of my initial ideas about when I saw that movie. Fast forward now, look who we got playing Doctor Doom. And I'm not justifying the stuff that Robert Downey Jr. did in his past. But this dude, obviously we all know he has a rap sheet, but he's also redeemed himself. Way before Marvel started calling. Because there was a point where, as a matter of fact, Robert Downey Jr. went back and forth to jail. He was practically blacklisted from Hollywood just about, just because of his terrible rap sheet. And so for people, they think that he's got this type of privilege and stuff like that, and as if he doesn't have a checkered past himself, because he does. On one end, you could say that Disney, you could blame Disney for playing a race card, but at the end of the day, the ultimate color that Disney looks at is green. And so, and they're looking for someone to quickly put butts in seats. Once again, like I said, be better than RDJ himself. So pretty much, if anything, those are my main takeaways when it came to when it came to San Diego Comic-Con, as well as Deadpool, Wolverine. So that is, so of course, like I said, I look forward to seeing how things play out when it comes to Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars. You know what I mean? So so if anything that does it for my impromptu you know, Deadpool Wolverine review and episodes. And thank you very much for watching and have a great night. And also, before I go any further, let me backtrack. Also, on my Big Cartel, website, podcast website, I have new merchandise. You can pre-order my DX1's WWE shirt, DX/Run DMC type of shirt, HBK Triple H. It's based off inspired by Run DMC. So please make sure to check that out. And of course, once again, have a great night.